Earlier, I spoke with Brian Becker about the war games. He's the executive director of the Answer Coalition, and I asked him about the message Russia is sending with the massive military exercises.
You know, the media reports are that these are the biggest exercises in decades. I think for Russia, these may be the biggest military drills ever. We have hundreds of thousands of troops taking place, and they're not being taken under the guidance of an international organization, say the Shanghai Cooperation Council. These are domestic military drills. So for Russia to have China, at the invitation of Russia, integrated into these massive military drills says a lot about the growing, maturing Russian-Chinese relationship, which is now becoming more and more intimate, I would say. It also sends a signal that that Russia and China, even though they don't use the language of alliance or blocs as happened in the Cold War, that's what's really emerging in the war games or the war drills, demonstrate that there is an emerging alliance of a military character, not purely military, but certainly of a military character between these two Eastern countries. Russia doesn't see itself mainly or exclusively as an Asian power, perhaps mainly European, but Russia's looking east. As a consequence of U.S. policy, Russia and China are looking to each other.
And both countries have wanted to modernize their military. That's something they've been working on. These military exercises also coincides with the Eastern Economic Forum taking place in Vladivostok. President Xi and Putin will actually have their third face-to-face in less than 3 months' time. What does it say about the current state of Russia and China's relationship?
I think very warm. They both donned aprons to have a pancake cook-off. It showed a kind of an amiable relationship. The fact that they are talking together about economic integration, which of course they share a huge border. At the same time, you have South Korea coming to this forum. You have Japan coming. So we have together Russia, China, South Korea, and Japan, the real leaders of Northeast Asia coming together. And the fact that there's talk about an economic cooperation and perhaps a division of labor, because China brings one thing to the table with the One Belt, One Road. Russia on the west has other things to offer. I think we're on the verge of something very new. It started to happen, as we know, right after the Chinese Revolution in 1949, the cementing of those kind of economic plans that broke up as a consequence of the Sino-Soviet split. Now, because of mutual nationally perceived interests, it's coming together once again.
And we know that they're going to talk about free trade and investment. Several business leaders will also be there at this forum. What do you make that, given what we're seeing with trade disputes, tariff disputes, sanctions disputes, the timing of the discussions at this forum?
Yeah, the United States policy is to get rid of free trade, to get rid of multilateral trade agreements, to sanction Russia, to carry out tariffs and severe tariffs against China. The United States is carrying out an economic war of a multifaceted type, sanctions, tariffs, and at the same time pressuring China, say, in the South China Sea. All of that pressure means that Russia and China cannot really afford to be isolated. They cannot look to the outside world under the face of what they consider to be real threats and not look for allies. They want to be out of isolation. So naturally, they find each other. So we have diplomatic, we have economic, military, and even cultural exchanges. And I think you can see, based on the recent surveys, a growing sense within the peoples of Russia and the people in China, a growing sense of, hey, we're friends. We're historically brothers and sisters. We could be good neighbors. So it's not just at the big governmental level or the geostrategic level. I think there's an understanding, a perception in both countries of the need for this alliance.
And very quickly, what is the one thing you'll be looking to come out of this forum?
Well, I think what we'll look forward is the announcement of future follow-up activities. Will Russia and China say boldly, look, we have arrived together at a new stage. I believe we are at a pivotal new moment in world politics, a dynamically changing world, mainly as a consequence of U.S. policy. Russia and China will want to exhibit publicly that this isn't a one-shot deal. This isn't just theatrics. This is going forward. So I think we'll see announcements of future plans.
Brian Becker, thank you so much.
My pleasure.